Hello, everyone, and welcome into Monday, June 10th. I hope everyone had a good weekend. And let's take a look and see what all messages want to come through for you from God, Spirit, the Divine as we start out this week. And later this week, I'll be posting the videos for the second half of June. So make sure that you hit the subscribe and notification bell if you want to be alerted as to when the new videos post on the channel. And as always, as we go through the daily reading, if it, take only what resonates and leave the rest behind. If it doesn't match up with your story, then it's a message for somebody else for today. But if things are lining up, then there's a message in here for you. So let's go ahead and take a look and see what all we have for the collective, and then we will do the individual sign groupings. All right, so we had the Queen of Swords in reverse was the jumper card. The Tower in reverse was one of the pulled cards. Eight of Cups in reverse, and we'll do one more since that was a jumper card. And Page of Wands. So I believe it was over the weekend, we also had this Tower in reverse. And this is that energy of not wanting to move forward, like you're trying to keep something propped up that really just needs to go. So be mindful of that as you're making your way through the day. What is it? Are you seeing signs of something that you really do need to let go of? And if there's a hesitation to it, then why is there a hesitation? The card that jumped was this Queen of Swords in reverse, and that's going to be some of this energy of it's almost like this bitter, kind of blunt type of energy. So normally the Queen of Swords, it's about, using that sword to cut away any of the BS and kind of get that clear, independent thought. This is almost kind of like that bitter, jaded type of spin to it. So it's having that clarity, but having it almost like with that pessimistic twist on it. Like, well, of course this doesn't work out for me because nothing ever works out for me because I only ever end up attracting in losers, like that sort of energy, as opposed to just kind of the clear, this is how it is. Okay, I'm going to cut away all the nonsense and let's see it for what it is. This is like I'm seeing it for what it is, but then allowing it to spiral down too. We talked about the Tower in reverse. We also have our Eight of Cups in reverse and our Page of Wands. The Page of Wands is in the upright. So your Eight of Cups in reverse, this is about kind of feeling stuck and you're avoiding change. So both of these are going together. The Tower in reverse and then the Eight of Cups in reverse. It's like you're holding on to something that you shouldn't be holding on to. It's something that needs to be let go of. But then with your Page of Wands energy, this is going to be this kind of like happy, excited, optimistic type of energy. So it's almost like you're bouncing back and forth, and we'll see as we go individual sign grouping by sign grouping, we'll see kind of how this plays out for you. But it's almost like this energy of bouncing back and forth between, I'll call it the bitter, cynical part of it, like from our Queen of Swords in reverse, and like bouncing back and forth between the bitter, cynical, and then the happy, optimistic as you're propping something up. So we'll see what that looks like, because generally both of these, it's not like, oh, prop it up for a little bit longer and it'll get better. Like something has to change, like fundamentally, structurally has to change. Otherwise you're just holding up something that really needs to be let go of. So let's go ahead and jump in and see what this looks like for the sign groupings. We will start today with our air signs, which is our Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. And let's take a look and see what is in the challenge space, please, for our Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, as it's relating to this energy that's coming in. All right. We have got the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. So in your challenge space, you've got this sense of a missed opportunity in your challenge space. And Pentacles are related to your resources, but that doesn't necessarily just mean financial. It can also mean your energy, your time. And so in the challenge space there's this challenge of missed opportunities or failed investments. And so for a lot of you, this is reading like you're holding on to something because it's almost that sense of, but I've already invested so much time and effort and energy, and in some cases money, into a situation. I don't want to just throw it away. And whether this is a job, like, oh my gosh, they've worked me like a dog for the last 10 years. If I give up, like if I quit now, then it totally doesn't make it worthwhile. Like it only kind of that to some extent fallacy in terms of thinking, well, if I just stick it out a little bit longer, I'm going to get this big reward. So therefore it makes all the crap I've dealt with up until now worthwhile. So there is truth to that sort of thinking if it's reasonable to believe that that's coming in. For example, like with certain companies, like they work their first years, their second years, their third years, they work them to the bone because they know that kind of weeds out the people that aren't as committed to their job. So it's almost like this inverted pyramid. You hire 100 first years and you know that 20 of them are going to drop between first year and second year. And then, of the remaining 80, they know another 15 are going to drop the next year, so it's kind of like, that there's that path. The challenge becomes, is that actually the path? Or are you telling yourself that because you're afraid to make a different choice? So that's going to be like, that's what's in your challenge space, is that sense of, but I've already put so much time and effort and energy into this. It makes it a waste if I change course. So, oops, oh my gosh. They didn't actually fall. They just kind of jumped out of my hand. So let's see what all messages are coming through, and we'll see if we can get some clarity on what this situation is for our Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. All right, and then we have Judgment in reverse. So this is about not wanting to learn the lesson and move forward. The Judgment card is like the divine coming in and saying, okay, we've given you this opportunity to learn a lesson, to move forward, to grow. Have you learned the lesson? Are you incorporating it into what you're doing going forwards? So, for example, if this is a relationship that is not serving your highest good, and the universe has brought you multiple encounters within this relationship that say this is not the right place for you, are you learning that lesson, or are you burying your head in the sand? So this is that energy of, it's a little bit of that burying your head in the sand. Let's just pull one more card here to see what is advice from Spirit for this situation. What is advice from Spirit for this situation for our air signs? We have the Seven of Wands, and the Seven of Wands is about perseverance. So in some cases, like I said, the example I was giving earlier about that idea of, if I quit now, there was no point in doing any of this, like that job situation of hiring first years, and this is what you do, and there's that progression. Advice from Spirit is coming in, like, to be persistent. So the situation that you have in mind, the message that's coming through here is, it is that scenario of I'll call it that pyramid structure of, we hire this many, work them to the bone, and then, eventually you'll get there. So that's kind of that message that's coming through here for our air signs, is hold on, you'll get there. So, so that's how it's reading for today. So even though over the weekend, we talked about this with the Tower in reverse, like it's futile, you're holding up something that is not sustainable. This card is saying, hang in there a little bit longer. Like there is this excitement and optimism and happiness that's coming in, as well as some of this, I know you're getting tired of holding it up, but it's this perseverance just a little bit longer. And then trust. I accept that my inner voice will always guide me correctly. So make sure that you're really connecting, and that's what I was mentioning before, is that line of thinking of, if I walk away now, like all is lost, but what if I'm sticking it out in a situation that's never gonna change? That's needing to do a lot of reflecting and seeing what are you being called to do. And just now when I looked down, it was catching my eye. When you look at the ring part here, is the same color as the toilet. in the card about perseverance. So trust that your voice is going to lead you the right direction in terms of perseverance and sticking things out. Trust your path. If you knew you would be supported, what would you do? So this is a lot about trust right now. 2 cards in a row are saying trust. So this is kind of that whole thing of don't let your monkey mind chime in there and try to steer you in one way or the other. Like, sit in the quiet, sit in that sense of solitude and trust your path. Like, trust what that inner voice is telling you. Way of faith. Let faith be your guide. Oh my goodness. So when you put all 3 of those together, like those colors, and sometimes I don't know if the colors come through as well over videos, they do in person, but you know, like this purple is like almost the same as this color here. So this reading has been about trusting your path in terms of, you know, I think that in the challenge space, this missed opportunities. Your monkey mind is trying to tell you you have all these missed opportunities. You've been sinking your time and your effort into something, and what if it doesn't work out? What if it doesn't? And I think that's the message that's coming through with this being in the challenge space, is it's pushing you into this bitter, kind of cruel energy of, you know what? Nothing ever works out for me. So you know what? May as well just cut my losses and be done. I really feel that these 2 are coming together for you, like trying to self-sabotage. And that from a judgment perspective, do you have a pattern of self-sabotaging? Like when things get tough, it's like, okay, well, done. And it feels like the message here today for the air signs, for our Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, is perseverance. Trust your path and, you know, let spirit bring in what needs to come in. But with the perseverance, it's also the patience, you know, so just because you pray for something 3 nights in a row doesn't mean on the 4th day automatically it comes. So trust that the path is unfolding the way it's supposed to. So that was our message for our air signs. Now let's move on to our fire signs. That is going to be our Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Let's take a look what is coming up in the challenge space for Aries, Leo, Sag. The Empress. So in the challenge space, you're being challenged regarding your inner wisdom, that higher consciousness, that divine feminine energy. So, because remember, divine feminine is that Empress energy. So that's that loving, nurturing type of energy. And so that's where you are in terms of your challenge space, Aries, Leo, Sag, is sitting in that, I'll call it more 5D space as opposed to 3D. So these sorts of feelings here are very 3D. There's a structure I have to keep in place. There's something that I don't want to make a decision on. There's these cruel, bitter feelings, like those. They're very 3D. So let's take a look and see. And you're in the challenge space with the higher consciousness. It's the challenge is to move into that 5D. And you got the Judgment in reverse card. This is the same card that air signs got. So you could be dealing with an air sign on something where it's like both of you are in a position where you're not really learning the lesson that you need. And, you know, and I did this for air signs. I'll do this for you as well. What is advice from spirit? Oops, on this. Okay, that was like 6 cards that jumped, so we're not taking that. But what is advice from spirit for our fire signs regarding the situation? You have the King of Pentacles in reverse. So King of Pentacles in reverse is about kind of like this greedy, exploitative energy. It's like it's resource irresponsibility. So I would say financial, but pentacles don't necessarily have to just be money. It's also time and energy. So it's like irresponsibility with your with your energy. Where are you putting your energy? Why are you putting energy into certain situations and not others? So you're putting energy into propping up a situation that isn't serving you anymore. And that is going to cause you to loop because you're putting it in to a 3D scenario. There's some excitement. This Page of Wands energy, remember, that's that excited, happy energy. So there's something that you're wanting to move towards. There is that vein of excitement that's coming through. So let's see what else we have about that. Surrender. I can release my need to control. It's interesting. So in the air signs, with them having the Judgment in reverse, it was all about trust. Trust the path, trust the divine, trust, so that came up in like all three of the oracle cards were trust cards. So let's see what you have. You're already doing it. Stop overthinking. Keep facing your true north. So your true north, that north node is like, what are you here on this planet to do? What are you here in this incarnation to do? And are you doing it? Are you surrendering to, this is what I am here to learn, or are you off doing something else? So there's a little bit of that sense of, because Judgment in reverse is about, you're holding on to something and not learning a lesson. Like these two kind of are going together. Like you're holding on to something. Well, this one goes too. That you're holding on to something and not seeing it from the higher perspective. And so that's why, in the challenge space, your challenge is to see it from the 5D perspective. What is the lesson? Not the busy work. One of the ones in this deck says, I believe, I did have that in there because it's a phrase I use a lot. Don't confuse activity with accomplishment. So don't busy yourself in the 3D thinking, well, I'm doing something, because you need to figure out what is it in the 5D that you're here to do. So, connecting with your higher consciousness. The Sufi wisdom oracle is balanced life. Love seeks your well-being. What are you creating a balanced situation for yourself, or are you creating something that's out of balance? So some of it, as you surrender, because look at that along with this. So as you surrender to the path and surrender to the 5D, which is going to be here, that higher consciousness, that inner wisdom, then you're going to fall is not the right word. You're going to flow into a state of balance, but you have to be able to step back and see it from a 5D perspective, see the bigger picture. What is the lesson that you're supposed to be learning, so that way you can move on from it and not just, keep propping up whatever structure is already in place because it's already in place. So that's also another one from this, I think from that deck, that the whole idea of the worst answer you can give when somebody says, why do you do things a certain way, is we've always done it that way. Just because you've always done it that way doesn't mean that's the right way to do it. So that was the message for our fire signs. Now let's take a look at our earth signs, which is our Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. Let's see what is coming up in the challenge space for Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. This is falling here. The Chariot. The Chariot in reverse. So from a challenge space, you're feeling like timing is just off, like everything's out of balance. A little bit of that sense of like bad karma, that there's all these obstacles to overcome. And that's the challenge, is the stagnant energy of things aren't moving forward for you. You're just kind of stuck in this rut. And some of that is going along with this Tower in reverse, Eight of Cups in reverse. Things feel stagnant, and that's your challenge, because you're not allowing things to flow. You're holding up things that aren't serving anymore. And your card that's coming out is the Sun in reverse. So it's that sense of feeling like you're locked out of your blessings. And it's directly related to the fact that, propping up structures that aren't working is making you sit in that kind of cruel, bitter energy that's coming through. So there is a sense of, there's a part of you energetically that's like, but I just want to be happy, with this one. I just want to be happy. So let's see what other messages we have. Change. I understand that nothing can grow or evolve without movement. And this going here, you know, if you want your blessings to come in, something's going to have to change. If you do what you've always done, you're going to get what you've always gotten. So you need to allow change to come in, to allow spirit to move the pieces around on the chessboard for you, without having the idea that my game board is supposed to look exactly like this. Spirit, move my pieces to look like this. The I guess call to spirit is, spirit, make my, or, you know, move the pieces on my game board to align with happiness. Not, you know, move this piece here, this piece here, this piece here, this piece here. Because spirit will know how to move things in a way that maybe you haven't seen before. Deep replenishment, retreat, rest, and be held. So this is a matter of, it's kind of like, okay, stop trying so hard, like stop crushing down on this situation. It's that whole thing of, you know, if you have a flower, if you grasp it too tightly, you're going to crush it and it's going to kill it. So there's that energy of just rest, just let it be, just, you know, relax and let life flow. So let's do one more card here for our earth signs. And then we have make friends. Friendship is the alchemy of success. So make sure that you're going out and, you know, it's easy to get stuck in certain ruts and certain cycles if that's all you ever experience every day. So I love it. One of the readers that I watch sometimes online talks about, like, in terms of being lucky, if you want to be lucky and you want good fortune to find you, like, you have to go out and do it. You have to put yourself in positions where lucky things can happen to you. So for example, you know, if you're trying to land that dream job, you're not going to land it if you're sitting on your couch watching TV all day, every day. Like, you need to put yourself out in positions where you would be interacting with other people, where these opportunities can come towards you. So it's kind of like that, like, make friends and allow life to evolve and move forwards, and you'll see different opportunities coming in for you. And that can help move and create energy within a scenario that feels stuck. So that is the message for our earth signs. And last but not least, we have our water signs. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. So let's take a look and see what message wants to come through for Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. And first, we're going to start with our challenge. Spirit, what is the challenge for our water signs for today? The Emperor in reverse. So the challenge is in terms of how you're interacting with this situation, like keeping something propped up. The Emperor is normally that leader, that I'll call it balanced, divine, masculine, you know, taking action, seeing where you need to go. In reverse, it's kind of that overbearing type of, it's my way or the highway, this is what we're doing, you know. So it's like a very, I'll call it a very cold, close-minded ruler type of energy. So in the challenge space, it's how do you address this situation without being so closed off that you're not willing to accept input or feedback from anybody else. It's kind of like, how do you see it from other people's standpoint as well, and kind of incorporate all of that into being a kind leader. You know, okay, so this is really interesting. The first half of the reads, you know, I did air signs first, then fire signs, and both of those had Judgment in reverse as their card. I just did earth signs, and now I'm doing water signs, and both had the Sun in reverse come up as their card. And, you know, I mean, I was shuffling along, you know, so it wasn't like, oh, I just set the card down and then just picked that one up off the deck. So it's interesting. You may be, your storyline may be intertwined with somebody who is an earth sign. So you might want to check that out as well. So this is like that sense of feeling locked out of your blessings because of, because of the fact that you are spending so much energy holding up these structures that aren't working for you anymore. And with this Queen of Swords energy, this kind of like bitter, cruel energy, kind of, it feels like it's that like dark day, like the cloud is coming in across the castle, like the queen is in that bitter place, the emperor's in that, no, this is the way that things are going. So it's almost like everything is turned cold and harsh. There is still that Page of Wands energy, so there is still that sense of like excitement and optimism that wants to come in. So let's see what that's about. Blame. So that was the card that jumped. I accept responsibility for my well-being. And then the next one is peace. I am a being of love and I release all negative energy. So some of it, I think there are cycles of blame that are going on here, keeping you locked out of your blessings. Cause like, it comes up backwards in the video. So it feels like when you're looking at, the purples and the purple here and, kind of these orangey colors and like the orange down here, that there's a lot of blame that's keeping you from moving forwards. There's a lot of, it's almost that sense of, I'm going to keep propping up this structure because it's the other person's fault and I am not going to walk away first. I'm going to make them apologize. I'm going to make them own up to what they did. I'm not going to let them off easy. So it's almost like it's that sort of energy. If that lines up with your scenario, are you waiting to get an apology from somebody? Are you waiting for the other person to say, hey, you know what, this is my fault? If it's a relationship that's, turning cold, that's turning that, or that has already turned that downward slope, and it's just like neither one of you wants to say anything. So there's that sort of feel to it, that it's like you're propping it up because you feel that you're owed an explanation or you're owed an apology. And while that might be true, peace. I'm a being of love and I release all negative energy. Remember, forgiving them doesn't mean that you, it doesn't absolve them of any wrongdoing or responsibility. What it's doing is it's freeing up you energetically from still being attached to that storyline. So you forgiving them, maybe they've been neglectful and they're just not listening to you, and you feel totally ignored, and it's like, no, you want them to own up to it. Forgiving them, if you're moving on, like forgiving them doesn't mean you're saying, oh, that's okay that you ignored me for years and years, or, that's okay that you became a workaholic and left me at home by myself all the time. It's not saying I agree with or I support what you did. It's saying I'm not going to let that scenario continue to pull and drain me energetically. I'm moving on. I am finding peace within myself, and that's more important to me. Like, my peace is more important to me than hearing you say whatever those words are. All right. Trust the niggle. What is that niggling feeling trying to tell you? So there's something, when you look at this card, so everything's kind of in these like black and white tones, and then there's her in this violet, or lavender in the front. So, what is it that Spirit is trying to tell you? Like, if you're able to kind of quiet or, mute, if you're able to mute what's going on around you, like dull all the other colors around you, all the other white noise, you can hear, like you can see this lavender color better because of the fact that all of the other colors are muted around her. If everything was like full color, she wouldn't stand out as much. So the idea is, how do you get the rest of your mind to quiet? How do you get the rest of that white noise to shut up long enough that you can hear what that inner voice is that's trying to tell you? And that's what's going to be finding your peace for you, is once you can figure out how do you quiet the rest of this 3D nonsense, you'll be able to find that peace within you. And then we have happy life. Live a less guarded life. if you're energetically spending all this time and effort, and like I said, like the story or the narrative that was coming through was kind of that whole thing of, no, I'm going to hold on because I want that apology from you. I want you to take responsibility for this, or, you know, apply it however it works in your life, if it's a job situation, family, whatever. But this live a less guarded life is about, you know, again, releasing that blame, having that sense of peace and forgiveness, and saying, you know what, but I don't want to live, you know, through this type of lens of saying, I'm not going to be happy until you give me this. It's kind of like, no, I just want to be able to flow in a state of peace and, you know, flow throughout my day and not have to worry about like, oh, there's this anxious, tense energy over here, so I don't want to go over here, so I need to go over here. You know, it's about how do you find that inner peace to be able to just go with the flow of the day and let yourself be drawn towards things that are in better alignment. So I hope that you found today's message to be helpful, but as always, take only what resonates and leave the rest behind. And I wish you peace and joy along your journey. Until next time.